So this is day number 3 at Ohio Health City, an amazing show filled with some amazing tattoo artists and human beings. But I've also had the opportunity to sit down with in my opinion, a tattoo legend, somebody who has kind of shook the world, especially when it comes to like re-envisioning what you can do with a tattoo. Not all tattoos are mistakes. Sometimes they be turned into beautiful artwork, but I mean that's just a fraction of a LA-born initial graffiti artist and a friend of mine. I'm going to sit down with Big Gus, man. Thanks for taking the time,
Yeah,
brother.
thanks for having me,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah, of
It
course.
only took a minute.
Yeah, no, we finally cornered you and was able to
Yeah,
strap you down with it. I mean, he showed you cameras and a microphone and you were comfortable, so you sat
yeah,
down.
I'm comfortable with that.
Uh,
What better place than Hell City, though? You know
yeah,
what
oh,
I mean?
yes,
So it's
yeah.
all good.
Oh, yes, that's
Such a
100%.
great show, bro.
Yeah, yeah. So as I alluded to, of course, with your reputation in the tattoo industry, but also even getting out of the world, with like your publications on Tattoo Nightmares. Still, I'd love to share a little bit about your story, your origin. Like give us a little bit of background because you
Okay.
just laid some interesting nuggets about MMA on me that I didn't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just, raised in LA, raised in the streets,
Mm,
raised in the hood,
mm,
and
mm,
ghetto kid. They made me a homemade machine, and
mm,
I think I was about to be 13, tattooed myself. Started doing graffiti when I was 9. Started
yeah,
airbrushing when I was like 12.
mm,
I've been drawing my whole life,
yeah,
and so pretty much born and raised in the streets. You know what I
mm,
mean? And
mm,
I guess like made from the streets and the elements that come from the streets. You know, the
yeah,
subculture of LA is very beautiful. Like
yeah.
even though it's grimy and dark, even in the '90s when I was growing up as a kid, like it was brutal, bro. You know what I mean? Like I've been through some crazy things in my life and survived a lot of crazy things. So
Mm,
fast forward, got a job at a tattoo shop when I was 20.
mm,
No apprenticeship, no nothing. Some guy invited me to come over because they needed an artist, and he came to one of my tattoo parties I was having. And he's like, "Bro, you tattoo better than the tattoo artist at the shop." And I was like, "Man, I only use a liner. Like, I
mm,
don't know how to do things. Like, I still can pretty much only tattoo with my homemade machine."
mm.
And he's like, "Bro, trust me. Like, he'll give you a job." So I went over there. I took my homeboy and showed him this big old like back piece. I did a Aztec warrior back piece on this
With a
dude
homemade machine.
with a homemade machine
Wow.
and a liner. I had just got one from Huck and Spalding
Yeah.
back then,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Old
three
school.
liner. Did the whole thing with a 3-liner because I didn't know what a mag was
Yep. Yeah.
at the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I went over there, showed him the back piece. I was like, "Hey man, I don't got a portfolio, but I brought a dude who's got my work on him." And he
Mm-hmm.
saw his work. He's like, "You're hired." And
Sold.
I was like,
Uh,
shit, what do I do now? Like, I
yeah.
don't have no equipment. I mean, I did, but what I had was minimal. It was
Yeah.
from the catalog,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
order from the Easy Rider magazines.
Yep.
You can order from
Yep.
the Easy Rider magazines back then.
Mm-hmm.
And but now he gave me a job, and I did that for a year. And I worked 2 jobs. I worked in a rubber mill at the time.
Mm.
I didn't graduate, so like I had tough jobs,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was actually a good job that I finally landed. So I did both for a job, and I couldn't do it anymore. And I was actually going to quit tattooing because at the time, benefits, health insurance, I was already thinking about that kind of stuff. And so at the time, the girl that I was with was like, you don't want to be a freaking rubber mixer your whole life. Like you're
Yeah.
an artist. Like
Yeah.
just quit being a rubber mill guy. I still got my job and we'll just go like that. And I was like, okay, fuck it.
Nice.
So I quit my good job
Uh,
and I just went to full-time tattooing, and it was the best decision I ever made. Obviously, I'm here
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
So
Just to context, like what time of what year is this?
so this is 2001 when I first started at that shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going on my 24 years of professional tattooing this
Nice.
year. That
Nice.
doesn't include my homemade
Sure.
tattoo
Sure.
and
Sure.
stuff. And then fast forward, my whole life I played football. I play sports, so I get healthy. Then I get chubby, and then I kind of go on this roller coaster thing. And then my daughter Breezy, her mother has a brother. He goes by Tattoo Terror, and he's a professional MMA fighter.
Yeah.
And I wanted to lose weight because I got chubby again, and I was like, I want to get fit. So I started going to the gym. He's like, man, screw that. Like, come to fight school, because this was a traditional fight dojo. It wasn't like UFC freaking 24-hour fitness type thing.
Sure.
It was
Sure.
a
Sure.
real fight dojo.
Yeah.
And I kind of hesitated at first. And then finally one day I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. And I went over there, and you can try out for 3 days. And
Oh.
when you try out they give you 3-day trial because either you're gonna want to do it or
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, fuck this.
Uh-uh.
Because it's a straight fight school, bro. So
Yeah.
like my first day, I got my ass handed to me.
Mm.
I was a good street fighter my whole life, you know, thinking
Uh,
I got something in me. No,
no, no.
dude, this little buck 25 little white boy,
Uh,
dude, he beat me like a
ugh.
tomato, bro. Like I looked like just a big old thing. But
Mm.
long story short, I fell in love with it,
I was to say,
and
yeah, sounds like you did.
I did it for 7 years,
Wow.
and like religiously, like
Mm.
I worked down the street at Franco's shop. At that time, it was called Ink House. Every day, I'd go to the shop early. I'd get done by 4 or 5, and then I would go do my fight school training and jujitsu or wrestling, like whatever. So I did 2 classes back to back, pretty much religiously. I did that for like a solid 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
solid
Yeah, well, you
every
mentioned
day.
you did a lot of fights?
Yeah, I got into doing a lot of fights. You know, we had to do a lot of fights to like advance in our
Yeah,
school.
yeah, yes.
And then also we had to do jujitsu tournaments. So
Mm.
I did over like 50 of those, and then
Mm.
I did probably like 60 or 70 like MMA fights, and
Wow.
like, but they were all amateur. I'm not a professional by any means,
Dude.
but
Well, I'll say sometimes fighting with the amateurs is crazier because
yeah,
they're not as reserved and
yeah,
preserved, and they just go
yeah.
all out.
And I
So,
really
uh,
loved it. The
uh,
discipline I got from it
yeah,
was bar none the best I could have ever imagined. I was
yeah.
very firecrackery, but it really humbled me
Mm.
down to like
Mm. Tempered you.
it tempered me really bad because
Hmm.
I'm, you know, by nature I'm violent because
Mm.
I grew up that way.
Yeah,
So MMA and martial arts, like it really tamed that part of me. You know what I'm saying? Because now
yeah,
I know that I could. It's scary when you know what you can do to
yeah.
someone, so you don't want to do it to
Yeah,
someone. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? If that makes
100%.
any
No,
sense.
no, 100%.
Yeah,
Fellow martial artists, I hear that, man. And you're 10% of the world, right?
yeah,
The rest don't know
yeah,
what it's really like, you
yeah.
know?
It's scary. You
Mm-hmm.
could really hurt someone.
Mm-hmm.
But so, anyways, and then
Don't fuck with
fast
Big
forward.
Gus.
Yeah, so don't take advantage of what you learn in these classes. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
again, if you learn in a real fight dojo,
mm,
like you're disciplined to be that way.
yeah,
When I started sparring with UFC fighters before
mm,
their fights in my gym,
mm,
I knew I was like, okay,
yeah,
we call it looking down the shotgun. You know what I mean?
uh,
Like right here, like. And when I started doing that, and I'm looking at a UFC fighter and I'm
uh,
sparring, I was like, okay, I'm
yeah.
doing all right.
That's
You
cool.
know,
That's
so
cool,
it's
man.
cool.
That's dope. Yeah, like I said,
It's cool.
it's something I didn't really even know about you,
Yeah,
until just recently, and again, that's something we share, as a passion.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, that's just a piece of your career, you know. Like
Yes.
obviously, this was,
Yeah.
you started off real young, you know.
Really young. Yeah.
Obviously, getting into it the way you had to get into it, and there's something you said. I just want to maybe even philosophical element, because you're saying where you came from was grimy and dark, and it was beautiful though.
It
And
was.
it
Yeah.
kind of has something to do with tattooing, because tattooing's painful and it hurts, and sometimes there's blood and there's pain, but then something beautiful comes from that.
Yeah, and then
Right?
also tattooing at that time, it was a dark world still, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you mean you're talking about like biker shops,
Yep.
gang shops, like
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about you're working like 12-hour shifts with like 30 straps in the house and like,
Yeah.
you know, bags of all kinds of shit, if you know what I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about. Like it
Yep.
was a
Yep.
crazy time. Like
Mm.
old school tattooing was wild.
Yeah.
Man. Like it was really wild.
Mm-hmm.
So and then so fast forward, by that time I had already like, you know, bro, if people know the history of my tattooing, like I had over 400 publications and
Yeah.
600
Oh
awards for
yeah.
my black and
You blew
gray.
up. Yeah.
And then I got my show.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tattoo Nightmares came into my life, and that really changed everything because
Yeah.
it wasn't just like one episode or 2 episodes. I mean, we filmed a total of 89 episodes and
That's
4 seasons,
yep.
and they still air till this day.
Yep.
So
Mm.
it's been a wild ride, man. I've been
That's
very
cool.
blessed to be where I am.
Well, a little bit. Speak to that, like some cool experiences with that, because that's something that, especially, I mean, I have young tattooers in the shop that talk about growing up and seeing these shows
Yeah,
growing up,
yeah.
right?
I know they tell me that too. They walk up to these shows and they're like, "I used to watch you when I was a kid." I was like, "Whoa, bro!
You're like,
Like you're making me feel like
oh
I'm an ancient old man,
man,
right?"
yeah. But they look
Yeah,
up to it, they
yeah,
idolize those and you
yeah.
and those on that. I mean, maybe some cool stories, man, or something you'd like to reckon, or even
There was a
things to
lot of
avoid.
there was a lot of cool stories on
Mm.
Tattoo Nightmares. For one, it was like our show. We were the stars of the show,
Yeah.
so it was different. We're not in competition. We were there to create artwork, do our thing, and not jeopardize the true characters that we are. We kind of made it a thing that we were like, if one thing I can tell people about television is don't go on television and don't get pushed around to where they make you be something you're not, because that is not going to make you
Mm.
whatever you call famous or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like they hire you for a reason. So be that reason that they hired you for. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
don't be fake. Don't tell them to tell you, oh, like start your arguments. Like, no, just be real. Like
Yeah.
I
I
ended up
love
being
that.
on Tattoo Nightmares and Tommy Helm came over and he came from Ink Master, so he was kind of supposed to lead it. But then, you know, I have a very strong personality, so it kind of like took over the vibe of the studio. But
Yeah.
it was great because we all made a promise to each other that we would stay that way.
That's good.
And on top of it, we put it in our contracts that they can't jeopardize our character past this show, because if you do, you're jeopardizing my career by
Yeah.
making me be something I'm not.
Yep.
So that's another thing I recommend is make sure that you can, if you can, put that in your contracts.
Get it in writing. Yeah.
Things that you need to think about. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard plenty of stories, and they did a Ink Master Angels episode of my shop in 2017. I got interviewed for it, and one of the specific they asked is like, could you be dramatic? Would you be willing to like talk shit without without prompt? It's like no, and I'm sure you would agree. It's like if someone starts talking shit, punch him in the face.
Yeah. I like the first few seconds of Ink Masters for me would be like, "Hey, so bad," and I'm back.
Right? How you done? No, what you said, I think is gold, especially those who are really striving for it. Because I mean, I know artists. It's like I want to be a next Ink Master, and it's like, okay, that's cool to have aspirations, but if you do make it there, like, be yourself.
Most definitely, most definitely. I mean, like, the thing is, like, the internet is great for many things. It's also bad for many things. But I believe in tattooing. The internet is beautiful because it showcases to the world our artwork, right? Where we have avenues of learning and being inspired and like being educated. So many avenues now because of it. At the same time, is that bad? Yeah, but I don't see it I don't see anything negative. I see everything as a positive form, right? So,
cool.
But the negativity of that is that people tend to like get sucked into that and they want to be these people. Dude, don't be nobody. Be yourself.
Yes.
I'm sorry, if you try to be like somebody else, if you try to act like somebody else, if you try to draw like somebody else, you're not being yourself.
Yep.
And this world now can tell when you're being original or not original.
Yes.
I mean, I can look at like 80 portfolios and be like, it's all the same black and gray,
Well, I think there's a lot of value in you sharing that wisdom because, like, a good analogy, forgive me if this isn't, is like 50 Cent, right? Like, dude started off in the streets.
Right.
Like, he was a legitimate crack dealer, went underground, got shot 9 times, came out of hiding, and started his career. Now he's got an empire, right? I think isn't the name of his show is Empire, right?
There is one.
Something like, well, what I'm getting at is because you have that history, right? Of like hard work, come from the struggles and actually having a work ethic and pushing through and getting into a thing and not being afraid to get punched in the face and then put yourself out in front of people and be like, this is who I am, this is who I want to be. That's carved out who you are right now, And I think it's important for people to realize that authenticity is invaluable for living a purposeful life. If you're looking at life half full, like, bro, like that's a testament right there, because a lot of people
your mindset's got to be everything, man. And I mean that goes for everyday life too. You know what I'm saying? But as in this industry will eat you up and chew you out. You know what I mean? Like even still till this day, people are not as vocal about things not being correct, but the right people will be vocal to you. And how you take that advice, it's either gonna make you better or you're gonna bitch about it and just whine that you should be like that guy. Don't whine, just suck it up, man up, or woman up, whatever, and just do the work. And if you do the work, people will recognize it, man.
Yeah.
I know you hear a lot of older guys say that, but I mean, that's the bottom line.
It is. So, it's good you say that. People need to hear that. You just got to put in the work. You got to put in the reps, right?
Tattooing, man, it's a thing where you can learn techniques right away now, right? You can learn how to tattoo pretty quickly, but you still need the time on skin to really give you that edge in creating, one, being unique, and then 2, becoming something within yourself to be that unique artist, and then also the techniques of what it takes to tattoo properly, how they're going to heal, how you understand black and gray on different skin tones, like how color saturation is going to work, how some colors are not going to work on blah 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 blah. All these things is only learned through time.
No, 100% experience. Well, speaking of time, like what is coming up in time for you? Like, what do you got going on? Like, what's the future for Gus right now? You got
right now, I mean, obviously you guys can all see that I'm back on the road and stuff and traveling again. So just kind of doing that at the moment. I'm only doing shows where my friends are throwing the shows. They're like still the leading industry tattoo shows like Hell City. I love Derb. I mean,
of course.
This was like my first, believe it or not, this was my very first like big show I ever did.
Nice.
And I remember when Derb invited me, it's like I won the lottery, bro. It was like the Academy Award. I mean, it still is like the talent and top notch.
It's mind blowing.
Is insane. So like to be able to be here at Hell City, amongst so many great artists that are from the older past to now the newer, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, the tattoos that are being done here are insane.
I know.
So
Humbling.
It's one of those things where I'm just traveling. I own also other companies that have to do without tattooing. So I'm a hardcore outdoorsman.
Nice.
I fish
Yeah.
professionally.
Yep.
I own an outdoor company, so that takes up a lot of my time. And then also, I've had major life changes recently, unfortunately, and I have to move to different areas
Okay.
and just create a new life, new foundation. So I'm
Okay.
starting over, which I'm fine with that. It's all
Okay.
good.
Okay.
And but I got my tattoo family
Oh yeah, man.
to keep
Forever.
it going.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm very blessed to be where I'm at, man, and
That's
be able
cool.
to pick up and go and enjoy my life. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I know you're busy. I know you got some more filming you got to do here shortly, so you better go pop on the camera, I'm
Yeah, we're
sure.
gonna go do some solo and TV stuff for the
Nice.
family. So,
That's
but
cool.
that's all good though. I mean, it's nice. Again, I just want to say, good job on doing what you're doing, bro. Like what you're doing, it's like we've needed it for a long time.
Sure.
So it's
Sure.
it's nice to see someone doing it.
Well, like I said earlier, man, someone has to, and like we mentioned, it's a little pastime.
Yeah.
Like a lot is going on, and
Yeah.
not that it was your fault intentionally, but by making tattooing so much more cooler to everyone, so many people getting tattooed, and it's just blown up in everybody's awareness that now we're very very popular and also very in demand, right?
Yes.
And so you got from regulations to corporations to
Yeah.
shitty news media, like it's stuff that we got to navigate. But having people with voices like you to give some sanity to this next generation, to
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
share the focal point of hard work, dedication, being authentic,
Being
uh,
authentic. Yeah.
I think is huge. And of course, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, there's always your website,
Yeah.
biggusinc.com. But any other, I
I
mean,
mean, it's easy to find me, man. Just
yeah.
this sounds kind of maybe arrogant. I don't know, but you just type Big Gus on Google, and you'll be all right. You'll be able
All
to
right.
find me at Big Gus Inc. on all social media platforms. And
Nice.
you know, like you said, like before nobody wanted to show cover ups, and after our show,
Mm.
everybody wants to showcase cover ups. So
Yeah,
I've
no.
been very blessed to showcase something
Yeah.
unique. So thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks
No.
for the support. Thank
And
you to everyone who supports my artwork.
yeah.
Soul and family, they've been with me from day one. So thank you to them and Derb, True Tubes, everyone who supports what I do, man. Like yourself, I'm really grateful and I appreciate the time that you guys give me. So thank you.
Cool. Well, thank you, brother. And I'm blessed that you took the time to talk with me.
Always.
Thanks, brother.
All right, my dude.
All right.
Keep killing it.
Thank you.
Time to go to work.
Yeah.